In a world that never slows down, where distractions pull you every which way, what if the key to unstoppable motivation isn't found in doing more, but in understanding what drives you from within? Imagine unlocking a force inside your brain that fuels your passion, sharpens your focus, and ignites your willpower every single day. This isn't some secret, it's science. And today, we're diving deep into dopamine, the brain's motivation molecule, and how you can harness its power to transform your life. Ready to reclaim your drive and ignite real change? Let's begin. Dopamine. It's more than just a word you hear tossed around in wellness conversations or self-help books. It's the powerhouse inside your brain, the unseen force that shapes how you move through your day, how you pursue your goals, and how you experience life itself. To truly reclaim your motivation and mental strength, you must first understand dopamine, not just as a feel-good chemical, but as your brain's ultimate driver, the molecule that fuels desire, focus, and relentless pursuit. At its core, dopamine is the chemical messenger responsible for motivation and reward. Think of it as your brain's internal spark plug, igniting energy and fueling action. When dopamine flows freely and in balance, you don't just move through your day, you attack it with clarity, purpose, and vigor. Tasks that once seemed tedious become challenges you're eager to conquer. Goals transform from distant dreams into achievable milestones. Your mind sharpens, your focus intensifies, and your resilience grows. But when dopamine levels dip, even slightly, everything changes. That same spark becomes a flicker, then a shadow. Motivation wanes, focus scatters, and simple daily activities feel like climbing a mountain. You might find yourself stuck in the quicksand of procrastination, distracted by the endless noise around you, or overwhelmed by the weight of inertia. It's not just mental fatigue. It's your brain signaling that its motivation engine is running low. Here's the truth many don't realize. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure or reward. It's fundamentally about anticipation and drive. It's the difference between passively waiting for life to happen and actively creating the life you want. Dopamine pushes you forward, compelling you to seek, strive, and improve. It's why you feel excited before a big project, why you chase success despite setbacks, and why you feel that surge of satisfaction when you accomplish something meaningful. Understanding dopamine means understanding this. Motivation isn't a mystical force that visits randomly. Modern life complicates this balance. Constant notifications, social media, instant gratification. These things flood your brain with unnatural dopamine spikes, short-circuiting your motivation system. Instead of building sustained drive, you end up chasing fleeting highs that leave you drained and disconnected. Your brain craves consistent, meaningful dopamine release, not bursts triggered by superficial rewards. This is where knowledge becomes power. When you grasp how dopamine works, you gain the tools to rewire your habits, restructure your environment, and reclaim your energy. You start seeing motivation not as a mystery, but as a muscle, one you can train, strengthen, and sustain. For example, dopamine is closely linked to goal setting. When you set clear, actionable goals, your brain anticipates the reward of achieving them. That anticipation floods your system with dopamine, fueling your efforts. But vague goals or scattered intentions don't create this effect. You need precision, focus, and purpose. Moreover, dopamine release isn't a one-time event, it's a cycle. Every small win you celebrate, every step you take toward your goal, triggers more dopamine, creating a positive feedback loop that propels you forward. This cycle is essential for building momentum and staying resilient in the face of obstacles. But beware, dopamine balance is delicate. Overstimulating your brain with constant distractions or overindulgence can desensitize your receptors, making it harder to feel motivated naturally. This leads to the exhaustion and apathy many experience today, feeling stuck even when opportunities abound. So how do you nurture your dopamine system? The answer lies in intentional living, choosing actions, thoughts, and environments that support steady dopamine flow. Physical movement, nutrition, rest, and mindful habits all play a role. When you integrate these elements, you rebuild your brain's motivation pathways, restoring energy, focus, and emotional resilience. Understanding dopamine also means recognizing its connection to your emotional well-being. It's not just about getting things done, it's about feeling alive, connected, and purposeful. Dopamine fuels joy, satisfaction, and the inner fire that keeps you going through life's toughest moments. Now, as you begin to see dopamine not just as a chemical, but as the engine of your drive, it's time to explore the practical ways to activate it. Movement. simple but powerful, can awaken dopamine and set your brain into motion. From slow walks to deliberate stretches, the body's rhythm influences the mind's motivation. The next part of this journey will show you exactly how to harness movement as medicine to kickstart dopamine naturally and reclaim your vitality. Get ready to discover how simple actions can lead to profound shifts, fueling your brain, your body, and your life with unstoppable energy. Your motivation is waiting to be unleashed. Let's step into that power together. Movement is medicine. It's a fundamental truth that transcends trends and fads, rooted deep in our biology and echoed through the wisdom of the ages. After understanding dopamine as the driving force behind motivation, energy, and clarity, it's time to connect that knowledge to action, real, physical action that awakens your brain and body. Because dopamine isn't just a chemical you passively experience. It's something you can activate, stimulate, and strengthen through movement. Simple, consistent movement has the power to reset your brain chemistry, clear mental fog, and ignite the fire of motivation from within. Picture this: you're stuck in a rut. The to-do list feels overwhelming, your energy feels depleted, and your mind is clouded with distraction and fatigue. What's the first instinct for many? Sit down, try harder, push through. But that's exactly the opposite of what your brain and body need. The antidote to stagnation isn't more sitting, it's movement. Not just for the sake of exercise or aesthetics, but as a potent catalyst for dopamine production, mental clarity, and emotional balance. Scientific research confirms what ancient wisdom long recognized. Movement, any movement, triggers a cascade of neurochemical responses. Dopamine surges, along with serotonin and endorphins, rewiring your nervous system to feel motivated, focused, and even joyful. It's the body's way of saying, you are alive. You are powerful. You can move forward. When you engage your muscles, even through gentle walking or stretching, you send signals that awaken your brain's reward pathways. This isn't about becoming a marathon runner or hitting the gym for hours. In fact, the pressure to exercise can sometimes backfire, turning movement into a chore or a stressor, which defeats its purpose. The goal is to reconnect with your body in ways that feel natural, accessible, and sustainable. This could mean taking a 10-minute walk outside, standing up to stretch throughout your workday, or simply breathing deeply while moving your limbs gently. Every small motion counts because dopamine doesn't discriminate between grand gestures and simple acts of motion. Ancient Stoics understood this intuitively. Cleanthes, a laborer and philosopher, combined physical toil with intellectual reflection, knowing that movement sharpened his mind and balanced his emotions. The rhythm of labor, the steady flow of breath and muscle, kept his thoughts clear and focused. Today, you don't need to haul water or labor physically to tap into this principle. You just need to move, even slowly, even briefly, to activate that internal spark. Movement interrupts the cycle of mental stagnation and emotional overwhelm. When your body sits too long, your brain's dopamine production dips. Your nervous system senses stillness as a threat, triggering fatigue, anxiety, and a lack of motivation. Movement reverses this. It's a physical reset button that signals safety, vitality, and possibility. When you move, blood flows more freely, oxygen reaches your brain, and neural connections fire more efficiently. Your mind becomes clearer, your capacity to handle stress improves. Consider this: you're overwhelmed by your work or life stress. The natural reaction might be to dive deeper into the problem. More screen time, more thinking, more planning. But science and wisdom both suggest the opposite. Get up, step outside, breathe, and move your body. Even a short walk in natural light can shift your brain chemistry enough to cut through the fog, reduce anxiety, and restore motivation. Movement also plays a critical role in balancing other neurotransmitters alongside dopamine. Serotonin, the chemical linked to mood stability, and norepinephrine, which enhances attention and alertness, also respond positively to physical activity. The combined effect is a holistic boost in mental and emotional well-being. Movement doesn't just wake up your muscles, it wakes up your mind. The beauty of this medicine is in its simplicity. You don't need fancy equipment, a gym membership, or a rigorous workout plan. You don't need to hit the pavement running. You need permission to move in ways that feel good, that honor your body's rhythms in your current state. Movement is not punishment, it's a gift. It's the essential language your body uses to communicate vitality to your brain. This is the kind of movement that lasts, consistent, intentional, and integrated into daily life. It's the small choices, standing while on calls, stretching between tasks, walking instead of scrolling. These choices accumulate dopamine release, build momentum, and create resilience. Over time, your brain rewires to expect and crave this natural stimulation instead of seeking artificial highs from distractions or overstimulation. It's important to recognize the trap modern life sets. Our culture often equates success with sitting longer, working harder, and pushing beyond limits. We glorify hustle and neglect the biological needs of our bodies. Yet, every great performer, every resilient leader, understands the power of moving not just for physical health, but for mental clarity and emotional strength. Movement is the foundation on which all other well-being is built. Here's a practical truth. When motivation is low, movement is the most accessible and effective tool to raise it. When focus falters, movement refocuses the mind by increasing dopamine and enhancing neural plasticity. When emotions run high, movement calms the nervous system and restores balance. It's not magic, it's biology, and you have control over it. So how do you start? Begin small. Stand up now. Stretch your arms, roll your shoulders, take a deep breath. Walk around your home, or better yet, step outside and feel the ground beneath your feet. Don't aim for perfection, aim for presence. Notice how your body feels in motion, how your thoughts shift, and how your energy changes. This simple act is the first step toward reclaiming your brain's natural motivation system. And as you make movement a habit, watch how it transforms more than just your body. Notice how your mood brightens, your mental fog lifts, and your willpower strengthens. Notice how motivation becomes less elusive, replaced by a steady internal drive that doesn't depend on external stimuli. Movement is more than physical action. It's a declaration that you are alive, that you are engaged, that you are committed to your own well-being. It reconnects you to your primal roots and rewires your modern brain for sustained motivation and clarity. From this foundation of movement, the next step is to fuel your brain properly. Because dopamine production depends not just on action, but on the raw materials your body receives. The nutrition you choose impacts your brain chemistry and directly influences your energy and motivation levels. Up next, we'll explore how to eat not just for survival, but for mental strength, to power your dopamine system naturally and sustainably. Get ready to discover how the food on your plate can become your brain's greatest ally in this journey toward motivation, clarity, and emotional resilience. The power to change your life is in your hands and on your plate. Let's dive in. Nutrition is more than just fuel. It's the foundation of your mental power, your emotional balance, your motivation. After awakening your brain and body through movement, the next crucial step to activate and sustain dopamine, the chemical that drives you forward, is to feed your brain with intention and wisdom. What you eat directly shapes how your brain functions, how you feel, and how motivated you are to conquer your day. Too often, we underestimate the power of nutrition in our mental game. We grab quick fixes, sugary snacks, processed foods, caffeine binges, looking for instant energy boosts that crash just as fast. But the truth is, your brain demands more than empty calories and fleeting highs. It craves nourishment that supports dopamine production, regulates mood, sharpens focus, and builds resilience. Dopamine synthesis relies heavily on key nutrients, especially amino acids like tyrosine and phenylalanine. These building blocks are found in protein-rich foods such as lean meats, eggs, dairy, nuts, and legumes. When your diet lacks these essential components, your brain's ability to produce dopamine is compromised. You feel sluggish, unmotivated, foggy, and emotionally unstable. But nutrition isn't just about individual nutrients. It's about the quality of your diet as a whole, the balance of macronutrients, the presence of antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that protect and repair brain cells. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like fatty fish and flax seeds, support neurotransmitter function and reduce inflammation that can impair dopamine signaling. Fresh fruits and vegetables supply antioxidants that guard your brain against oxidative stress, keeping your motivation system healthy and firing strong. This isn't some vague health advice. Scientific research backs it up. People who consume nutrient-dense diets have better cognitive function, higher dopamine levels, and improved mood stability. On the other hand, diets high in sugar and processed foods lead to dopamine dysregulation, cravings, emotional instability, and even depression. It's a direct connection. What you eat today shapes how you feel and perform tomorrow. Let's talk real-world scenarios. How often have you reached for that sugary snack during a stressful afternoon, only to feel a brief spike of energy followed by a crash. That crash isn't just physical exhaustion, it's a dopamine dip. Your brain gets flooded with a quick jolt of sugar, dopamine spikes sharply, then plummets, leaving you drained and craving more. This cycle undermines motivation, making it harder to focus, harder to push forward. Breaking this cycle starts with awareness. Are you eating to feed your body and brain, or are you eating to soothe emotions? Emotional eating is a trap that sabotages dopamine balance and motivation. It's not about guilt or deprivation. It's about reclaiming control and choosing foods that empower your brain instead of dulling it. Start your mornings with intention. Imagine waking up and fueling your brain first, not with caffeine or pastries, but with a balanced meal rich in protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs. Eggs with spinach and avocado, a smoothie packed with nuts and berries, oatmeal topped with seeds. These choices send a powerful message to your brain. I'm ready, steady, and capable. This intentional nourishment stabilizes blood sugar, supports dopamine production, and primes your mind for focus. Hydration is another often overlooked pillar. Your brain is over 70% water, and even mild dehydration can impair cognitive function and mood. Drinking water throughout the day supports neurotransmitter balance and keeps your motivation circuit firing smoothly. Replace sugary sodas and excessive caffeine with water, herbal teas, and nourishing broths to keep your brain sharp and energized. Supplements can have a role, but real food should always come first. Vitamins like B6, B12, and folate assist in dopamine synthesis. Magnesium supports nervous system health. Antioxidants from foods protect dopamine receptors. But no pill can replace the synergistic effects of a nutrient-rich diet combined with mindful eating habits. Mindful eating also matters. When you eat quickly or distracted, your brain doesn't register the meal properly. This can lead to overeating, poor digestion, and irregular blood sugar levels, all of which sabotage dopamine balance. Slowing down, savoring each bite, and listening to your body's hunger and fullness cues is a practice that enhances nutrient absorption and brain function. Importantly, this is a lifestyle, not a temporary fix. You don't need to be perfect or follow rigid rules. The goal is consistent, intentional nourishment that supports your mental and emotional well-being day in and day out. This means planning meals that nourish, preparing foods that energize, and being gentle with yourself when life gets busy. The Stoics taught discipline in all things, mind, body, and spirit. Seneca warned against overindulgence and called for moderation. Today, this translates into feeding your brain with respect and care, not with mindless consumption or emotional crutches. This discipline builds clarity, resilience, and sustained motivation from the inside out. As you make nutrition a priority, watch for the shifts. Notice how your energy stabilizes. Observe how your mood steadies. Feel your focus deepen. This is dopamine working for you, produced naturally, balanced, and effective. Nutrition sets the stage, but the story continues with rest and recovery. Movement awakens dopamine, nutrition fuels it, but without restorative sleep, the system falters. Sleep is the ultimate reset button for your brain's chemistry. It repairs dopamine receptors, regulates hormone balance, and consolidates memory and learning. Coming up next, we'll dive deep into the power of sleep, not just as rest, but as a vital act of mental strength that supercharges your motivation, emotional balance, and cognitive clarity. We'll explore practical strategies to harness sleep's restorative power and transform your days from exhausted to energized. Because motivation isn't just about pushing harder, it's about honoring your brains. Stay with me as we unlock the secrets of sleep, the final frontier in this journey to build unstoppable mental and emotional resilience. Sleep is not a luxury. It's not a break from productivity or something you squeeze in when life slows down. Sleep is the ultimate reset button for your brain, especially for your dopamine system, the very engine that powers your motivation, focus, and emotional resilience. Without quality sleep, no matter how well you move or nourish your body, your brain simply cannot perform at its peak. And that means your drive, your mental strength, your clarity, all take a hit. Think about the last time you had a bad night's sleep. How did you feel the next day? Foggy, irritable, lethargic, unmotivated. Even the smallest challenges seemed monumental. Your patience wore thin, your ability to focus was compromised, and your emotional responses were amplified. This isn't just being tired. It's your brain's dopamine system malfunctioning because it hasn't had the proper time and environment to recover. Dopamine receptors need rest. During deep, restorative sleep, your brain undergoes crucial processes. It clears out toxins, balances hormones, replenishes neurotransmitters, and strengthens neural connections. This is when your dopamine pathways recalibrate. When you sacrifice sleep, these vital processes are cut short. Your dopamine receptors become less sensitive, meaning your brain requires more stimulation to feel the same level of motivation or reward. This creates a vicious cycle of fatigue, cravings, and emotional instability. The science is clear. Research shows that chronic sleep deprivation leads to diminished dopamine receptor density in the brain's reward centers. That's why sleep-deprived individuals often feel less motivated and more prone to impulsive behaviors and mood swings. They chase artificial highs, excess caffeine, sugar, screen time, but the fundamental reset their brain craves is missing. Quality sleep transforms not just your mental state, but your entire life. It sharpens decision-making, enhances emotional regulation, boosts creativity, and restores your capacity to handle stress. It is the foundation of mental strength, the silent architect behind every success story. No movement routine or superfood can replace the power of consistent, restorative sleep. The Stoics understood the value of rest long before modern science confirmed it. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest leaders, prioritized rest as an essential part of his discipline. He knew that strength wasn't just about action but also about preparation, resting to return stronger, clearer, and more focused. This means that sleep isn't downtime, it's your brain's most critical workout. Every night you invest in quality sleep, you're building mental resilience, emotional stability, and a motivation system that won't falter under pressure. You're rewiring your brain to sustain high performance not just momentarily, but day after day. But in today's culture of hustle, sleep often gets pushed aside. We wear burnout like a badge of honor, confusing exhaustion for productivity. We sacrifice hours to screens, deadlines, social media, or meaningless distractions, not realizing that every lost hour of sleep steals from our future focus, motivation, and well-being. So what does real, restorative sleep look like? It begins with consistency, a regular sleep schedule that honors your body's natural circadian rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day trains your brain to anticipate rest and repair, improving sleep quality and duration. Creating a sleep sanctuary is another key. Your bedroom should be a refuge from stimulation, a cool, dark, quiet space where your brain can transition from wakefulness to rest. Limit exposure to blue light from screens at least an hour before bed, as it disrupts melatonin production, the hormone that signals your body to sleep. Even simple rituals like dimming the lights, deep breathing, gentle stretching, or reading signal to your brain that it's time to unwind. These habits reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, allowing dopamine pathways to reset without interference from anxiety or overstimulation. It's also vital to honor the transition from doing to being. That means letting go of the day's worries and planning before bed. Practice mindfulness or journaling to clear your mind. The quieter your thoughts, the more effectively your brain can enter deep, restorative stages of sleep where dopamine receptors regenerate. For many, perfect sleep might seem elusive. But small, consistent improvements build momentum. Even 7 hours of quality sleep can transform how you feel and perform. Listen to your body, it will tell you what it needs. As your sleep quality improves, you'll notice shifts. Your motivation won't rely on external highs or caffeine jags. Your mood stabilizes. You think more clearly and react with calm strength, not impulsive emotion. You become a force of consistent energy, ready to tackle your goals with clarity and resilience. But remember, sleep is just one pillar in your dopamine reset. Movement activates dopamine, nutrition fuels it, and sleep recharges it. Together, they create a powerful cycle of mental and emotional renewal. Next, we'll explore the profound power of stillness and mindfulness, how embracing silence and presence replenishes your dopamine system and brings clarity amid chaos. Because the brain's ultimate motivation doesn't come from relentless doing, it comes from balanced being. Stay tuned as we unlock the secrets of mindful silence to recharge your mind and soul and step into a life of unstoppable energy and focus. Stillness. It's a concept so simple, yet so profoundly transformative. In a world that never stops, never pauses, where noise, distraction, and chaos dominate, stillness is the ultimate act of rebellion. It is the space where your brain, your body, and your soul come together to reset, recharge, and realign. This is where dopamine, your brain's motivation molecule, finds its deepest restoration, not through noise or stimulation, but through mindful silence. After the power of movement and the necessity of quality sleep, stillness is the next pillar in your journey toward mental strength, emotional balance, and unstoppable drive. The ability to embrace silence isn't weakness or escapism. It's a skill, a discipline, that trains your brain to operate at its highest level. It creates the fertile ground where clarity grows, creativity flourishes, and motivation surges from a deep, unshakable core. Consider the frantic pace of modern life. Every moment is filled with sounds, alerts, conversations, and screens demanding your attention. This constant bombardment exhausts your nervous system and overwhelms your mind. Dopamine pathways become saturated with fleeting rewards and overstimulation. Instead of motivating, they start to tire, dull, and disconnect you from your true source of drive. Stillness interrupts this cycle. It offers your brain a chance to step out of the noise and into presence. When you practice mindful silence, you allow your nervous system to settle. You create space between thought and reaction, between stimulus and response. In that space lies power, the power to observe your emotions without becoming them, to witness your thoughts without judgment, to reconnect with your authentic self beneath the chaos. Scientific research shows that mindfulness practices like meditation, deep breathing, and focused attention actually increase dopamine and serotonin production. They strengthen the brain's regulatory systems, improving emotional resilience and cognitive clarity. The moment you commit to stillness, you start to rebuild your internal chemistry from the ground up. Imagine this, sitting quietly for just 5 minutes a day. No screens, no distractions, just your breath and your awareness. At first, your mind may resist, pulling you into worries, distractions, or discomfort. But with practice, those moments become sanctuary, a place to recharge your motivation and rediscover your center. The Stoics, though they lacked modern neuroscience, understood the essential power of stillness. Marcus Aurelius often retreated into silence to reflect, to recalibrate his mind, and to strengthen his resolve. For them, stillness was not withdrawal but preparation, a necessary step before action. Stillness allows you to hear your inner voice clearly, to tune into your values and goals without the interference of external noise. It helps you separate urgent from important, reaction from intention. This clarity restores your dopamine balance, aligning your motivation with purpose rather than impulse. The beauty of stillness is that it doesn't require special equipment or environments. It can be a quiet morning with a cup of tea, a mindful walk without your phone, or simply closing your eyes and focusing on your breath. The form is flexible, the intention is what matters, and the benefits extend beyond dopamine. Regularly embracing stillness reduces stress hormones, lowers anxiety, improves focus, and boosts emotional intelligence. You become less reactive, more composed, and deeply grounded. This mental and emotional balance powers your motivation in a sustainable way, one that no quick fix or distraction can offer. But don't mistake stillness for passivity. It's an active choice to slow down, to face yourself honestly, and to cultivate inner strength. It's a discipline that creates the foundation for your next steps: deliberate action, clear decisions, and focused energy. As you build this practice, you'll notice a shift in how you approach challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with calm intention. Instead of chasing fleeting rewards, you pursue meaningful goals. Your dopamine system thrives on this alignment, fueling your motivation with clarity and purpose. Stillness prepares you for what comes next, harnessing the power of small wins and consistent progress. When your mind is clear and your motivation is rooted in presence, you can celebrate every step forward, not just the finish line. This cycle of mindful action is what builds lasting momentum and transforms your life. So ask yourself, when was the last time you truly embraced silence? When did you last allow yourself the gift of presence, away from screens, noise, and distraction? What would happen if you made stillness a daily ritual, not as an escape, but as a strategy for mental strength and emotional resilience? Prepare to unlock the next phase of your journey, setting achievable goals and celebrating the small victories that keep dopamine flowing and motivation alive. Because true progress isn't made in leaps and bounds, it's built one intentional step at a time. Stillness is your secret weapon. Use it wisely. Use it daily. And watch your motivation rise from within, stronger, clearer, unstoppable. Small wins, those tiny deliberate victories we often overlook, hold the true power to transform not just our days but our entire lives. In a world obsessed with overnight success and instant gratification, it's easy to forget that meaningful change is built brick by brick, moment by moment. Your brain craves progress. It thrives on achievement. And the science is clear. Consistent small wins ignite your dopamine system, fueling motivation, focus, and resilience like nothing else. After embracing stillness and recharging your brain's chemistry, now it's time to channel that clarity into action. This is where goal setting becomes your greatest ally. But not the vague, overwhelming goals that stall progress, the kind that break down the monumental into manageable, actionable steps. These small wins aren't just checkmarks on a to-do list. They are signals to your brain that you are moving forward, growing stronger, and rewriting your internal narrative. Why does this work? Dopamine, your brain's motivation molecule, isn't triggered solely by the achievement of massive goals. It's the anticipation of success, the proof of progress, the acknowledgement of effort that lights up your reward circuits. When you celebrate even the smallest accomplishment, your brain releases dopamine, creating a loop of motivation and positive reinforcement. This keeps you engaged, focused, and energized to keep pushing forward. But here's the secret most people miss. Small wins are powerful because they create momentum. They shift your mindset from, "I have a mountain to climb," to "I am conquering one step at a time." This shift dismantles overwhelm and doubt, replacing it with confidence and control. Every small success builds your self-efficacy, the belief that you are capable of shaping your destiny. Think about how a child learns to walk. Every step, every stumble, every tentative move is met with celebration and encouragement. Why do we stop doing this for ourselves as adults? We discount our progress, dismiss our efforts, and chase perfection rather than progress. This mindset sabotages motivation and drains dopamine because your brain never gets the reward it needs. Setting micro goals changes everything. Instead of waiting for the big win to feel accomplished, you start acknowledging your growth daily. Writing a paragraph, drinking an extra glass of water, taking 5 intentional breaths. All these actions are powerful dopamine triggers when paired with mindful recognition. They tell your brain, "I am on the right path." This isn't about superficial positivity or empty praise. It's about honest acknowledgement of effort. Stoic philosophers understood the value of consistent action over fleeting inspiration. Epictetus famously said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the essence of small wins, clear intention followed by deliberate, repeated action. When you cultivate this habit, your brain rewires itself for sustained motivation. Neural pathways associated with success and reward become stronger, making it easier to stay disciplined and focused. You transform from a person waiting for motivation to a person creating motivation. Small wins also protect you from the paralyzing fear of failure. By focusing on progress, you reduce the pressure to be perfect or to reach your goal immediately. You learn that growth is a process, a daily commitment to yourself. Each small win is proof that you are capable, resilient, and moving forward, even on the hardest days. Practically, this means breaking your goals into clear, attainable steps. If your goal is to improve your fitness, don't focus solely on running a marathon. Instead, commit to lacing up your shoes and walking for 10 minutes today. That walk is your dopamine boost. If you're working on your mental health, instead of expecting to feel better overnight, celebrate each moment you choose calm over chaos. But don't stop there. Celebrate the small wins deliberately. Write them down, share them with someone you trust, or simply acknowledge them internally. This conscious recognition deepens the dopamine response and solidifies the habit loop. Small wins ripple beyond dopamine. They boost your confidence, reduce anxiety, and build emotional resilience. They create a feedback loop where success breeds more success. Over time, these wins compound, reshaping how you see yourself and your capacity for growth. Now, imagine carrying this momentum forward into your daily life. You wake up not overwhelmed by the distance to your goal, but energized by the steps you've already taken. Your brain is primed for progress, your emotions are regulated, and your motivation is steady and sustainable. This is the foundation upon which you build greater achievements. But progress isn't just about individual effort. It's also about connection, energy, and the environment you cultivate around you. After mastering small wins and goal setting, the next crucial step is to harness the power of your social circle, surrounding yourself with nourishing relationships that elevate your dopamine and fuel your growth. So ask yourself, what is one small win I can claim today? What tiny step will send a clear message to my brain that I am committed to change? Take that step now. Recognize it. Own it. Because these small victories are your path to lasting transformation, and they are only the beginning. Music is not just background noise. It's a powerful force that shapes your emotions, sharpens your focus, and ignites your motivation. It's the unseen catalyst that can transform a dull moment into a breakthrough, a tired mind into a powerhouse of creativity. When you understand how music interacts with your brain's dopamine system, you unlock a secret weapon to fuel your success. Think about it. Have you ever experienced a song that suddenly lifts your spirit, floods you with energy, or calms the chaos inside? That's dopamine in action, your brain's reward molecule responding to the rhythms and melodies that resonate deep within you. It's science, not magic. Neuroscience confirms that listening to music you love activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and creating feelings of pleasure, connection, and even heightened focus. But here's what sets successful people apart. They don't let music happen to them by chance. They intentionally curate their soundscape, using music as a tool to prime their mind for the work ahead. Whether it's an upbeat track to jumpstart your morning or a calm instrumental to deepen concentration, the right music creates an emotional environment where dopamine flows freely, motivation soars, and productivity follows. Connecting this to your journey so far, after harnessing small wins and training your brain to celebrate progress, music becomes the amplifier that fuels your forward momentum. It's not a distraction, it's a strategic ally in your quest for clarity, energy, and emotional balance. The Stoics might not have had playlists, but they understood the importance of rhythm and harmony in life, the flow of nature, the cadence of thought, the balance of emotion. Imagine starting your day with a soundtrack that mirrors your goals and fuels your ambitions. Music that speaks to the version of yourself you're becoming, not just what you were yesterday. This is more than entertainment. It's a dopamine-triggering ritual that sets the tone, aligns your mood, and prepares your brain to tackle challenges with focus and resilience. Science also shows that music enhances memory and cognitive performance. When you listen to music tailored to your task, it can reduce anxiety and increase your brain's ability to absorb and retain information. This means your study sessions, creative work, or strategic planning get an emotional and neurological boost simply by choosing the right tracks. But music's power goes beyond work. It touches the soul. It provides a safe space to feel, to release, and to heal. Whether it's the catharsis of a haunting melody or the joy of an uplifting beat, music helps regulate your emotions, reducing stress hormones and promoting dopamine release. In this way, it's an emotional reset button, helping you return to balance when life's pressures threaten to overwhelm. To harness this power, start by identifying the music that truly moves you. Not just what's popular or trending, but what resonates with your unique spirit. Create playlists for different parts of your day, energizing beats for morning motivation, focused instrumentals for deep work, soothing sounds for relaxation and reflection. Treat these playlists as your personal dopamine toolkit, ready to deploy whenever you need a boost. Don't underestimate the impact of silence, either. Sometimes the contrast of quiet before music sharpens your awareness and heightens anticipation, making the dopamine release even more potent. This pause, this mindful listening, transforms music from background noise into a deliberate act of self-care and performance enhancement. Now consider this. What if your soundtrack could become so integral to your routine that it instantly signals your brain to shift into a high-performance state? That every note, every rhythm, was a cue for your dopamine system to activate and your focus to sharpen? This isn't fantasy. It's a practice you can build starting today. As you embrace the power of music, you're not just enhancing your productivity. You're cultivating emotional resilience, sharpening your mental edge, and fueling the deep motivation that drives lasting change. This is how ordinary moments become extraordinary breakthroughs. But no journey toward mental and emotional mastery is complete without considering the people you surround yourself with. After building momentum with your goals and fueling your mind with the right soundtrack, the next essential step is to nurture relationships that lift you higher, connections that boost your dopamine naturally and support your path to success. So ask yourself, what music moves me? What sounds fuel my focus and awaken my spirit? How can I use this powerful tool to create the emotional and mental state I need to thrive? Start listening with intention, curate your soundtrack, and watch as your brain responds with renewed energy and unstoppable motivation. Your success deserves a soundtrack. Make it deliberate, make it powerful, and let it carry you forward. Your environment shapes your mind, your energy, and ultimately your destiny. When it comes to dopamine, the very molecule that fuels your motivation, focus, and emotional balance, the people you surround yourself with play a critical, often overlooked role. Authentic connections are not just nice to have, they are essential for your brain's health and your personal success. Imagine walking into a room filled with people who lift you up, challenge you to grow, and see you for who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. That environment triggers dopamine pathways, releases positive neurochemicals, and energizes you to be your best self. Conversely, toxic or superficial relationships drain your emotional reservoir, spike stress hormones, and disrupt dopamine balance, leaving you depleted and unmotivated. The science is clear. Genuine social bonds stimulate dopamine release. When you engage with people who listen deeply, respect your boundaries, and share mutual trust, your brain responds with feelings of pleasure, safety, and motivation. These relationships act like dopamine boosters, natural, sustainable, and powerful. They encourage you to take risks, pursue goals, and bounce back from setbacks because you feel supported and understood. But authenticity is key. It's not about having a large social network or chasing popularity. It's about cultivating a circle where your vulnerabilities are honored, where conversation flows without judgment, and where you can recharge instead of exhaust your emotional energy. The Stoics recognized this centuries ago. They valued friendships that built character, not chaos, that offered stability, not drama. Now think about your current circle. Are these people fueling your dopamine in ways that propel you forward, or are they draining your energy, leaving you scattered and anxious? Sometimes the hardest and most courageous move you can make is to curate your relationships with intention, to protect your mental chemistry by choosing wisely who gets access to your time and energy. This doesn't mean shutting people out or being cold. It means raising your standards. It means becoming the kind of person who attracts others who share your values, who honor your goals, and who match your emotional wavelength. When you surround yourself with authenticity, your dopamine system thrives, your motivation surges, and your resilience strengthens. Authentic connections also create a ripple effect. When you show up as your true self, you invite others to do the same. You foster environments where collaboration, creativity, and emotional safety flourish. This deep connection enhances not just your well-being, but your impact in the world. As you harness the power of your social environment, remember this: quality always beats quantity. One or two meaningful friendships that inspire and uplift can outweigh dozens of shallow connections. These select relationships become your sanctuary, your sounding board, and your dopamine-enhancing support system. Looking ahead, after building your inner strength through movement, nutrition, music, and meaningful relationships, the next vital step is reconnecting with the natural world. Exposure to sunlight and nature is a powerful catalyst that further amplifies dopamine, grounding you in rhythm and restoring balance. So ask yourself, who in my life truly fuels my motivation and emotional strength? Am I giving energy to people who uplift me, or am I caught in draining dynamics? What boundaries do I need to set to protect my dopamine and my peace? This is the moment to curate your circle with fierce intention and unlock the untapped power of authentic connections. Your success, your energy, your mental clarity depend on the company you keep. Choose wisely, connect deeply, and watch as your dopamine rises, and with it, your ability to conquer every challenge ahead. Sunlight and nature, two forces as old as time, hold a power that modern science is only beginning to fully understand. They are not just background scenery or pleasant distractions. They are essential, biological triggers that activate and amplify dopamine in your brain, fueling motivation, clarity, and emotional resilience. When you step outside and let the sun touch your skin, you're reconnecting with the original natural source of your brain's vitality. Think about it. Your body evolved under the sun's rhythms, tuned to the cycle of light and darkness long before electricity and screens dominated our lives. That morning light hitting your eyes isn't just a signal to wake up. It's a biochemical call to action. It activates dopamine pathways that sharpen your focus, elevate your mood, and prime your mind to engage fully with the day ahead. Without this natural rhythm, your dopamine system can falter, leaving you foggy, restless, and unmotivated. Studies show that even brief exposure to natural sunlight boosts dopamine production in key brain regions associated with reward and motivation. It's not just about feeling good temporarily. It's about priming your brain for sustained energy, emotional balance, and mental clarity. This is why people who spend time outdoors regularly report feeling more centered, more alive, and better equipped to handle stress. But it's not just the sunlight itself, it's the experience of nature as a whole. The sounds of rustling leaves, the scent of fresh air, the feel of grass beneath your feet. All these sensory inputs create a complex, immersive environment that recharges your nervous system and restores your brain chemistry. Nature resets you in a way no artificial light or digital screen ever can. Contrast that with the modern indoor lifestyle many of us lead, long hours under fluorescent lighting, staring at screens that emit unnatural blue light, cut off from the sun's healing rays. This disconnect disrupts your circadian rhythms, diminishes dopamine sensitivity, and contributes to the fatigue, anxiety, and lack of motivation so many face daily. The solution is simple but profound. Step outside. Stand in the sunlight without your phone, without distractions. Let your senses awaken to the natural world. The Stoics understood the value of nature intuitively. Marcus Aurelius found clarity beneath the stars. Seneca reflected on the mountains and rivers. They knew nature wasn't just a backdrop, it was a source of wisdom and strength. Aligning yourself with this timeless rhythm reconnects you to your deepest energy. Imagine starting your day not with the glow of a screen, but with the warmth of sunlight on your face. Imagine grounding yourself in the earth beneath your feet, breathing in air untouched by technology, allowing your brain's dopamine to flow naturally. This isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. As you integrate sunlight and nature into your daily rhythm, you amplify the foundation built by your movement, nutrition, and authentic connections. The next powerful step in this journey is reclaiming your passion and joy, the activities that fuel your soul and ignite sustained dopamine release. It's time to explore how doing what you love transforms motivation from a fleeting spark into a lasting flame. So step outside, feel the sun's power. Let nature become your original, most potent dopamine booster. Your brain, your body, and your spirit are wired to thrive here. Embrace it. Your passion is more than just a hobby. It's the fire that fuels your soul, the wellspring of genuine motivation, creativity, and fulfillment. When you reconnect with what you love, you awaken a dopamine flow that no external reward or fleeting distraction can match. This is not about chasing superficial pleasure or empty achievements. It's about returning to the core of who you are and what makes you feel truly alive. Think back to a moment when time seemed to stop, when you were so absorbed in what you were doing that worries faded, stress dissolved, and your mind was razor sharp. That is the power of passion at work. It's a state where dopamine flows effortlessly, bringing focus, energy, and joy in equal measure. Yet, for many, this state feels out of reach, buried beneath the demands of daily life, routine, and obligations. But here's the truth. Passion isn't a luxury reserved for the few. It's a necessity for your brain and your emotional well-being. When you neglect what fuels your soul, dopamine dwindles, motivation crashes, and your mental resilience weakens. The good news? You can reclaim it, starting today. Rekindling your passion means intentionally carving out time for what moves you. Whether that's painting, playing music, writing, running, gardening, or any activity that stirs your spirit. It's about protecting these moments fiercely, not as indulgence, but as essential maintenance for your mind and heart. This is how you rebuild dopamine naturally, through meaning and presence, not through artificial stimulants or distractions. The Stoics understood the harmony between duty and joy. They believed flourishing wasn't about relentless struggle, but living in alignment with your true nature. Your passions are clues to that alignment. They offer a path back to clarity, purpose, and emotional balance. When Marcus Aurelius reflected on his life, he emphasized the importance of embracing what enriches the soul, reminding us that the quality of our thoughts shapes the quality of our being. Re-engaging with your passion also rewires your brain's reward system. It trains dopamine to respond to intrinsic satisfaction rather than external validation. This shift creates sustainable motivation that doesn't fade with likes, applause, or fleeting success. Instead, it builds resilience and a deep sense of fulfillment that carries you through challenges and setbacks. The practical step is simple but powerful. Commit to doing what you love regularly, even if only for 15 minutes a day. Let go of perfectionism and expectation. Allow yourself to enjoy, create, or move without pressure. These small, consistent acts send a message to your brain and body that you honor yourself, your desires, and your well-being. As you reconnect with your passions, notice the shift. Your energy rises. Your focus sharpens. Your mood lifts. Dopamine flows not from chasing, but from being, fully present, fully alive. This is the foundation for the next critical step in your mental and emotional well-being journey. Learning how to release stress effectively, freeing your nervous system, and restoring your inner balance. So ask yourself, what activity once ignited my spirit? What small step can I take today to bring that spark back into my life? Start there. Protect that time fiercely, because when you fuel your soul, you don't just survive, you thrive. Stress isn't just a feeling. It's a silent force that hijacks your mind, drains your energy, and blocks the flow of dopamine, the very chemical that fuels your motivation and joy. Left unchecked, stress doesn't just weigh on your shoulders. It rewires your brain to expect chaos, to resist rest, and to trap you in a cycle of exhaustion and emotional numbness. But what if I told you that mastering stress is not about resisting it, but about mastering its flow? That true strength lies not in bottling up your emotions or pretending to be unshakable, but in learning how to release, process, and transcend stress so your dopamine can rise and your mental power can soar. Stress release is the secret weapon in reclaiming your mental clarity and emotional resilience. It's a practice of conscious surrender, not weakness, but radical self-mastery. Every moment you hold tension inside, every worry you clutch tightly, every frustration you swallow, you are telling your nervous system to stay alert, to stay reactive, and to block the natural reward systems your brain needs to feel alive, engaged, and balanced. Imagine your brain like a river. Stress is the debris and rocks clogging the current, slowing the flow, creating turbulence, and threatening to dam up the entire system. Releasing stress is clearing the path, allowing the water, the flow of dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins to move freely again. When you learn to let go, to breathe deeply, to move your body intentionally, and to express what's inside, you create space for calm, clarity, and renewed motivation. The Stoics taught us centuries ago that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we have absolute power over how we respond. Epictetus said it best, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." This is not about ignoring your feelings or pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about creating a wise, deliberate response, a response that honors your emotions without letting them control you. Releasing stress can take many forms, and it's essential to find what resonates with you. Sometimes it's physical, a long walk, deep stretching, a cold shower, or a burst of movement that shakes off tension and wakes up your system. Other times, it's emotional, journaling your thoughts without judgment, crying without shame, or speaking your truth to someone who listens without trying to fix you. And sometimes it's spiritual, prayer, meditation, gratitude practices that remind you of your deeper purpose and reconnect you with peace beyond circumstance. The act of releasing stress rewires your brain to expect safety instead of threat. It teaches your nervous system that tension isn't permanent, that you can return to balance, that your dopamine pathways can regenerate and thrive. This is how you break free from the cycle of burnout, overwhelm, and emotional shutdown. Practice matters. Even 5 minutes of intentional release every day creates a ripple effect. Place your hand on your heart, breathe in deeply, acknowledge the stress you carry, then breathe out and imagine it flowing away. Name it, honor it, then let it go. Each breath is a choice to reclaim your calm, your strength, your focus. Ask yourself, where am I holding tension that no longer serves me? What burdens can I release today to allow my mind to breathe and my dopamine to flow freely? Remember, the greatest act of resilience is not resistance, it's surrender. Surrender to the process of healing, surrender to the flow of your emotions, and surrender to the power of release. As you master this emotional flow, you prepare yourself for the final and most powerful step, aligning your entire being, body, mind, and spirit toward lasting well-being. Because true balance isn't about avoiding stress, it's about learning to dance with it. And that dance starts with the courage to let go. You've just journeyed through the essential truths of mastering your mind and body, how movement, nutrition, rest, stillness, connection, passion, and emotional release work together to reset your dopamine levels and fuel your motivation. This isn't some abstract theory or fleeting trend. This is science, this is ancient wisdom, and most importantly, this is your power waiting to be claimed. Understand this, dopamine is not just a fleeting chemical hit. It is your brain's way of signaling alignment, focus, and resilience. When you choose to move your body, nourish it wisely, honor your sleep, embrace mindful silence, surround yourself with authentic connections, soak in sunlight, and do what genuinely fuels your soul, you're sending a powerful message to your brain. I am in control. I am alive. I am ready. But knowledge without action is wasted potential. Now is the moment where everything changes, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. The power lies in the small, consistent steps you take every single day. The 10-minute walk instead of scrolling endlessly. The meal made with intention rather than convenience. The deliberate pause before reacting. The choice to protect your peace by curating who you let into your mental space. The decision to engage with life's beauty and passions without apology or delay. You are not powerless against stress, fatigue, or mental fog. You have the tools, the science, and the ancient teachings to reset your brain's chemistry and elevate your life. And the first step is simple. Show up for yourself with respect, discipline, and fierce intention. If what you heard today struck a chord deep within, don't keep it to yourself. Share this message with a friend or family member who needs to hear it. Together, you can hold each other accountable and grow stronger. Like this video to show your commitment to growth, and subscribe so you never miss another step on this path to mental clarity and emotional strength. Engage with us in the comments below. What small change will you start today? What habit have you struggled to build, and what helped you break through? Your story can inspire others and create a community of real, authentic transformation. Remember, this journey is not about instant perfection. It's about progress, steady, daily, relentless progress. It's about reclaiming your life from distraction and exhaustion and stepping into a version of yourself that commands respect, radiates confidence, and lives with purpose. The dopamine reset you seek is not a distant dream. It's right here, within your reach, waiting for your commitment. Choose to act. Choose to move forward. Because every great life begins with a single choice. Make that choice today. The future you will look back and thank you for the discipline, the courage, and the resilience you showed in this very moment. So take a breath, stand tall, and start building your best self now.